The early morning. Under the dim glow of an oil lamp in the corner of his empty, bare room, Vin lay motionless, listening to the relentless ticking of the old wall clock. Another long night had passed, and like every night before, he couldn't find sleep. Images of lavish nights in crowded bars, of friends pulling him along into rounds of drinks and cigarettes, flitted through his mind, only to fade, leaving him with an unshakable sense of emptiness. Dawn slowly broke, and through the narrow crack in the window, pale morning light crept in. The distant crow of a rooster announced a new day. But Vind only stared at the barren walls, his tired eyes roving over his once familiar surroundings. Since his parents' passing, the house had felt abandoned, missing the warm laughter and the cozy presence of family. Now, only Vind remained, adrift and alone in the home that had once held so many loving memories. Leaving the empty room behind, Ben stepped outside into the cool morning air. The soft earth under his feet stirred faint memories as he approached. He gazed at the small garden before him, recalling how, as a child, he'd helped his parents water plants and tend to the flowers each morning. Back then, every sunrise brimmed with joy and excitement. Family laughter blended with birds chirping in the trees, and it felt as if life held nothing but the life had drawn him away with the bright lights and promises of success. But he had fallen instead into distraction. Vin's parents had scraped together what little they had, selling land to send him to the city for his studies, hoping it would lead to a better future. But once there, he quickly fell into the wrong crowd. Friends introduced him to bars and late-night parties, luring him with the thrill of luxury and indulgence. Soon, the money his parents had sent him, their hard-earned savings, most disappeared into clothes and parties. He even borrowed, plunging into debt to keep up with his friends, who seemed to drift further from him the poorer he became. One by one they left, and Vin found himself alone, impoverished and burdened by shame. His health, too, began to decline under the strain of sleepless nights and endless hangovers. Eventually, his parents, weary and weakened by hardship and heartbreak, had passed away. The double blow of loss and regret left Vin reeling, numb and directionless. As he sat in the stillness, he closed his eyes, inhaling the fresh morning scent of jasmine from the bush beside the well. The fragrance reminded him of his mother's gentle care, and he thought back to the early mornings she'd wake up to prepare breakfast with quiet devotion. A deep sense of loss welled up in his heart. An elderly neighbor wandered over and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, her voice soft and warm. "Son," she said kindly, "the city can be deceiving. Perhaps now you know there is little that compares to a peaceful life." Her gentle words resonated deeply, as if she had reached into his heart and uncovered what he had forgotten. He had spent so long running after illusions, forsaking the genuine, steadfast love of family and the honest values of his hometown. In that moment, a new resolve bloomed within him. He would not allow his parents' sacrifices to be in vain, nor would he remain lost in his past mistakes. Instead, Vin decided to return to the simple but dignified life he'd once known, to earn an honest living and build an unmeaningful future. He would take up small jobs in the village to support himself, and determined to continue learning, enrolled in a path lay before him, one not paved with glamour, but with purpose, growth, and dignity. With this newfound clarity, Vin rose, looking around at the quiet, familiar surroundings. He understood now that true contentment wasn't found in city lights or crowded bars, but in hard work, family, and the serene beauty of the countryside. He had come full circle, ready to embrace the values of his roots, to live a life that honored his parents' memory, and to rebuild with humility, purpose, and hope.
Vocabulary words with definitions and examples from the story A New Dawn. 1. Relentless, never-ending or constant, often in a harsh or intense way. Example: the relentless ticking of the old clock kept Vin awake through the night. 2. Lavish, rich, luxurious, or extravagant. Example: Vin recalled the lavish nights spent in crowded bars with his friends. 3. Barren, empty, or lacking life or interest. Example: Vin stared at the barren walls of his childhood home, feeling a deep sadness. 4. Adrift, lacking direction or purpose. Example: since his parents' passing, Vin felt adrift, unsure of what to do with his life. 5. Indulgence, the act of allowing oneself to enjoy something pleasurable, often excessively. Example: his life in the city had been full of indulgence, from late-night parties to luxurious spending. 6. Devotion, strong love, loyalty, or commitment to someone or something. Example: Vin's mother showed her devotion through her quiet care for the family. 7. Sacrifices, acts of giving up something valued for the sake of others. Example: Vin realized the sacrifices his parents had made to send him to the city for his studies. 8. Deceiving, misleading, or giving a false impression. Example: the elderly neighbor warned Vin that the city could be deceiving. 9. Resolve, firm determination to do something. Example: Vin felt a newfound resolve to rebuild his life with dignity and purpose. 10. Contentment, a state of happiness and satisfaction. Example: Vin discovered that true contentment lay in the simple beauty of his hometown. Phrases with definitions and examples from the story A New Dawn. 1. Ticking of the clock, a metaphor for the passage of time, often highlighting impatience or restlessness. Example: the relentless ticking of the clock reminded Vin of the long, sleepless night. 2. Broke the silence, to interrupt a quiet or still moment with sound or action. Example: the distant crow of a rooster broke the silence of the early morning. 3. Come full circle, to return to a starting point, often with a deeper understanding. Example: Vin felt he had come full circle, returning to the values he had once abandoned. 4. Hard-earned savings, money earned through effort and sacrifice. Example: his parents' hard-earned savings were spent on Vin's education in the city. 5. Faint memories, weak or distant recollections of the past. Example: walking barefoot on the soft earth stirred faint memories of his childhood. 6. Empty promises, promises that are unfulfilled or lack substance. Example: the city had lured Vin with empty promises of success and happiness. 7. Lured by, attracted or tempted by something, often deceptively. Example: Vin was lured by the bright lights of the city, leaving behind his family and hometown. 8. A new dawn, a fresh start or a new beginning. Example: with resolve in his heart, Vin embraced the morning as a symbol of a new dawn in his life. 9. Mistakes of the past, errors or wrong choices made earlier in life. Example: Vin vowed not to let the mistakes of the past define his future. 10. Serene beauty, a peaceful and calming beauty. Example: Vin found solace in the serene beauty of the countryside.